Imagine discovering a civilization so advanced that they had indoor plumbing, perfectly planned cities, and a writing system 5,000 years ago. Now imagine that this entire civilization, with over 5 million people, simply vanished without leaving behind a single explanation. No wars, no natural disasters, no decline. They just disappeared. Today, we're diving into one of history's greatest mysteries, the Indus Valley Civilization, a lost empire that was more advanced than Egypt and Mesopotamia, yet somehow completely erased from history until 100 years ago. But here's the strangest part. Despite being one of the world's first great civilizations, they had been completely forgotten by history. No ancient texts mentioned them. No legends spoke of their achievements. It's as if they never existed until now. Discovery. The story begins in the 1920s in Harappa, Pakistan. Archaeologists expected to find typical ancient ruins, maybe some pottery, basic tools, the usual archaeological finds. Instead, they uncovered something that defied everything they knew about ancient civilizations. Picture this. You're walking through what you think is a primitive settlement, and suddenly you're standing in front of a perfectly planned city. Streets laid out in perfect grids, buildings made of standardized bricks, and then you see it, a sophisticated drainage system with covered sewers running beneath every street. This wasn't just advanced for 2500 BCE, this was advanced for any time period. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro was waterproofed with bitumen, the same material we use today. Their cities had multi-storey buildings with private bathrooms and running water. Every house was connected to a central sewage system. To put this in perspective, London didn't have a proper sewer system until 1865. The Indus Valley had perfected it 4,000 years earlier. But the discoveries were just beginning. Wonder and mystery. As archaeologists dug deeper, they realised this wasn't just one advanced city. It was an entire civilization that had solved problems we're still struggling with today.
Tom.
Their urban planning was flawless. Every city followed the same design principles. Lower town for common people, upper citadel for administration, and perfect drainage throughout. The streets were wide enough for 2 carts to pass comfortably, and they had designated areas for different crafts and trades. But here's what blew archaeologists' minds. They found absolutely no evidence of warfare. No weapons, no fortifications, no signs of conflict between cities. Think about that. Every other ancient civilization we know was built on conquest and warfare. Egypt had massive armies. Mesopotamia was constantly at war. But somehow, the Indus Valley people created a peaceful empire spanning thousands of miles.
Building intrigue.
Their craftsmanship was extraordinary. They created jewellery so intricate that modern techniques struggle to replicate it. They had standardised weights and measures across their entire empire, something Europe didn't achieve until the 19th century. And then there's their writing system. Over 4,000 symbols have been discovered, carved into seals and pottery. But here's the mystery that has puzzled scholars for a century. Nobody can read it.
It's as if they deliberately encrypted their entire history.
The more archaeologists discovered, the more mysterious the Indus Valley became. Unlike every other ancient civilization, there were no palaces, no temples, no monuments to rulers or gods. The houses were remarkably similar in size and design, suggesting an incredibly egalitarian society. But the strangest discovery was what they didn't find. no evidence of a ruling class, no kings, no pharaohs, no emperors. Somehow, this massive civilization functioned without any apparent centralized authority. Dr. Kenoya, one of the world's leading Indus Valley experts, describes it as the world's first democracy. But even that doesn't explain how they coordinated such massive infrastructure projects across thousands of miles. And then there are the artifacts that don't make sense. The famous priest-king statue shows a figure with a trefoil pattern on his robe, a symbol that appears in Celtic and other European cultures thousands of years later. How is that possible? The dancing girl bronze statue displays a level of artistic sophistication that rivals Renaissance masters. But it was created 4,500 years ago by a civilization that supposedly had no contact with the outside world.
The deeper we dig, the more we realise. The Indus Valley people weren't just advanced, they were impossibly advanced. And that makes their disappearance even more terrifying.
Around 1900 BCE, something happened. After flourishing for over 700 years, the Indus Valley Civilization began to decline. But this wasn't a gradual fall like Rome or Egypt. Archaeological evidence shows that people simply left. Houses were abandoned with belongings still inside, streets were left empty, entire cities were deserted. There are no signs of invasion, no evidence of natural disasters, no indication of disease or famine. The people just disappeared, leaving behind one of history's greatest mysteries. Theories abound, but none fully explain what happened. Climate change theory. Some scientists believe that the Saraswati River, which provided water to many Indus cities, dried up due to climate change. But this doesn't explain why such an advanced civilization couldn't adapt. Aryan invasion theory. Once popular, this theory suggested that Indo-European tribes invaded and destroyed the civilization. But there's no archaeological evidence of warfare or invasion. Internal collapse theory. Perhaps their perfect society wasn't so perfect after all. Maybe internal conflicts led to their downfall. But again, no evidence supports this. The most chilling possibility? Maybe they didn't disappear at all. Maybe they deliberately erased themselves from history. Today, 100 years after their rediscovery, the Indus Valley Civilization continues to challenge everything we think we know about human development. Their urban planning principles are studied by modern city planners. Their water management systems are more efficient than many contemporary cities. Their peaceful, egalitarian society offers a model that seems almost utopian. But the central mystery remains. How did a civilization so advanced, so successful, so perfectly organized, simply vanish without a trace? Some researchers believe they migrated south into India, becoming the ancestors of Dravidian peoples. Others think they were absorbed by incoming Indo-European tribes. The most radical theory suggests they achieved something we haven't, a truly sustainable civilization that voluntarily disbanded when they realized the environmental cost of their expansion. Dr. Possehl, a leading Indus Valley researcher, puts it best. The Indus civilization is the most mysterious of all the world's early civilizations. We know they existed, we know they were incredibly advanced, but we know almost nothing about who they were or what happened to them. And here's the most unsettling part. If a civilization this advanced could disappear so completely, what does that say about the permanence of our own society? The lost civilization of the Indus Valley reminds us that history is full of gaps, entire civilizations that rose and fell before we ever knew they existed. They built the world's first cities, created advanced technologies, and lived in what might have been humanity's first peaceful empire. Then they vanished, leaving behind only ruins and questions. What do you think happened to the Indus Valley Civilization? Was it climate change, migration, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this mystery as fascinating as I do, make sure to subscribe for more stories about history's greatest unsolved mysteries. And if you want to dive deeper into lost civilizations, check out the video I've linked about the mysterious kingdom of Aksum. The Indus Valley people may have vanished without a trace, but their legacy lives on in the questions they've left behind, questions that 100 years later we're still trying to answer.